but for real, I mean, when we set this up, I think the idea was to pick the absolutely coldest night that we possibly could. So, I just want to thank you all truly thank you all for showing up. It means a lot. And a big part of life is showing up. But as far as, me wanting to run for council, I just wanted to tell you guys a story of something that should never happen in a city like ours. The story of an apartment building, over 400 units, that had its water shut off by the city because the LLC that owns that building didn't pay the water bill. The building my parents live in. Seniors, folks with mobility challenges, kids who just wanted to wash their hands, families who were simply trying to make it through their day, had no access to running water for almost 24 hours. Now you can look at that and say, hey, that's just the way things are. But that's not who we are. You don't sit back and let it happen. You organize, you act. And that's what we did. We formed a tenants association. Building management did all they could to intimidate and discourage, but we stood firm. And we went down to City Hall and I spoke on our behalf, and we saw dozens of other tenants, each representing dozens of other buildings throughout the city. And they had problems with water, in heat, in mold, in bugs, in mice, the kind of indignity too many of us are expected just to take, things that no one should have to endure. And listening to them, it became clear to me that it wasn't their first time. And while our issues that night were different, the underlying problem was the same. Unaccountable landlords in a city that didn't know how to hold them accountable. Now, when I was 15 years old, I was a lifeguard for the city of Newark. All my life, I've been raised to be responsible, whether as a lifeguard, a public safety officer, public safety lieutenant, chairman of the Newark Land Bank Community Advisory Board, or a grant manager who has secured over $70 million in grant funding from municipalities and counties throughout this state. I'm the check you can cash. Because I understand that because something isn't your fault, doesn't mean it's not your responsibility. And we need responsibility and accountability in this city. For me, that starts with the clean hands doctrine. No landlord or LLC whose properties are not up to code will be allowed to evict a tenant, period. And we're going to have higher fees and stronger penalties for LLCs whose properties are not up to code. The more properties you own, the higher those penalties and the higher those fees. We're going to shift the burden back onto who it belongs, those who have been profiting from a broken and negligently run system. We're going to change the way we look at housing affordability. Right now, the city of Newark uses an AMI of $37,000 per household. That's far too narrow and it leaves too many families behind. Instead, I propose we use the New Jersey Region 2 AMI of $103,000 per household, thereby expanding eligibility and underscoring just how far behind we are in managing this crisis. Right now, I have a proposal for an 800-unit social housing complex, wherein everyone living in this complex will pay no more than 30% of their income on rent, regardless of their salary. It's a proven solution, and it's time we bring it into our ward. We're going to leverage grant funding to supplement existing programs and help build up new ones. That means expanding youth employment programs so kids have pathways to success. It means building out recreation programs and workforce development initiatives. It means addressing homelessness and food insecurity head on, and it means supporting our local businesses and nonprofits who have been the backbone of this community. The good news is we have the tools to do this. As some of you know, New Jersey has the most robust grant funding network in the country, and I've dedicated my career to making sure communities like ours get their fair share. I know how to get it done. But we have to decide, just like my parents and the Tenants Association did. It's not easy. There are forces that exist to intimidate and discourage, and they will continue to exist for as long as we allow them to. And while they may exist out there, they never have to exist in here or in here. And in here we have courage, if not for ourselves and for our neighbors, or not for our neighbors and for our children, but we decide that we're not going to settle for the way things are, that we're going to demand something more. Cleaner streets, safer neighborhoods, accountable landlords. That's the kind of city I believe in. That's the kind of city I'm fighting for. That's the kind of city I know we can build, and that's why I'm running for Central Ward Councilman. Thank you.